On the west coast of Jersey, there's a hidden treasure. All through the year, hundreds visit every day, yet very few have any idea of the gems nearby. Among the familiar greenery are some distinctly exotic clues. This is Val de la Mar Arboretum, home to more than 400 species of tree. But the Arboretum's been neglected, and one of the most important collections of trees in the British Isles has become the Forgotten Forest. Plans for the Arboretum began in 1975 with a donation to the Trees for People organisation in memory of Nigel Moores, an heir to the Littlewoods Poole family, a young man who died in a road accident in France. Nick Armstrong, Jersey's arboricultural officer, became involved in the early 1980s when he was an apprentice.
The States looked all over the island for a suitable place to have an arboretum. And they approached the Waterworks Company, and the Waterworks Company drew up an agreement with the States to plant trees on the Arboretum Valley sides.
Over the next 2 decades, almost 800 trees were planted and grouped according to their geographical area. They were grown in Jersey at Warwick Farm Nursery, from seeds gathered from all over the world.
The aims were to set up a parkland of trees for the island, so people could come and enjoy and walk through and see specimen trees as they grew to maturity.
Over the years, the Arboretum flourished. A full-time member of staff cared for the trees, and guided walks were set up as the public's interest grew, along with the forest. The area is just as popular today, and many enjoy the woodland and its wildlife all through the seasons. In winter, the deciduous trees reveal the true beauty of their structure. And without a cloak of leaves to conceal them, a wealth of fascinating detail is uncovered. Among the bare branches, evergreens from all around the world have a chance in the limelight. As the days gradually lengthen, the first signs of spring emerge as the natural world prepares for its busiest time of the year. Woodland birds advertise for mates and defend their territories. And with a little patience, there's plenty more wildlife to spot. By early summer, the valley is sprinkled with flowers and insects. And the trees bear leaves in every conceivable shape and pattern. The Arboretum, though, saves its greatest display for autumn, when the sheer variety of trees here is most obvious. Of all who visit Val de la Mar, how many realise just how special the area is?
I come here to enjoy the landscape and walk my dog, but I didn't realise it was an arboretum. I didn't know that. Yeah, really surprised. But yeah, they are. They're all different, aren't they? Yeah.
I often look at the trees and think, oh, I know that's a eucalyptus, or I know that's whatever, but no, I didn't know anything at all about why they're here, or, you know, who planted them, nothing like that at all.
To the untrained eye, the trees may be unremarkable, but if the unfamiliar shapes and colours fail to draw attention, then the clusters of 3 of the same species are a sure sign of something special. This technique of planting in triplicate was popular in the past with the aim of thinning out the weaker specimens should all 3 survive. The eucalyptus trees at the beginning of the trail are also easy to spot. With their distinctive peeling bark and pale foliage, they're the stars of the Australasian section. Further along are the Native American species, and tucked in the valley to the east is a fine collection of 23 species of birch tree. Other areas feature oak, ash and pine, which are perhaps more easily overlooked. But the Japanese section is impossible to miss, with its elegant oriental specimens. In total, Val de la Mar is home to more than 400 species, making it one of the most significant collections of tree in the British Isles, as well as being of international importance. Sadly though, all is not well in the Arboretum. As funds ran low in the early 80s, maintenance work was restricted solely to the footpath, and much of the Arboretum was neglected. In 1987, the Great Storm caused yet more damage, followed over the next few years by Dutch elm disease that killed much of the boundary hedging. Now much of the park is overrun with aggressive species, such as bramble and bracken, and the wingnut, walnut and hickory section became completely overgrown.
We've got a lot more sycamore and evergreen oak, and some of our more native aggressive species taking over the specimens, and nearly 15 to 20 years of neglect has taken its toll on some of the variety. Some of the plants are misshapen now. I mean, we will find if we do take a large evergreen oak down where there has been a young planting planted, it might be misshapen, but fingers crossed that hopefully it would regrow and reshape, and with new plantings going on, then it will encourage the Arboretum back. As I said before, it is of national importance, and just to lose it to the native plants would be a real shame to the island.
And it's not just the exotic trees that could be lost. Trials have been carried out here to test apparently disease-resistant species of elm, to replace the native trees destroyed by Dutch elm disease. So far the tests are going well, and the Arboretum has some very fine specimens of elm to add to its treasures.
You don't see anything like this anywhere else on the island. You won't stumble across anything. There are a huge amount of woodlands on the island that are native. This is native and non-native mixed together, so it's not destroying the native habitats. It's actually drawing people, hopefully here, to see the non-natives.
One of the original aims of the Arboretum was for the area to be educational, an objective it no longer meets. But there is a genuine interest in the trees, and many who visit would like to know more.
There doesn't seem to be that many signs left. In fact, I think I've only seen 2 trees still signed. But I think it would be a great area for education, for wildlife conservation, everything.
Well, I think it'd be nice if there was a bit more information available, perhaps, rather than just walking by thinking, oh, that's a nice tree. You know, if there was a plaque or something, or information posts which that stated.
As one walked around, I think it would be rather nice to stand and read, yes, a description of the trees and where they've come from and their names.
I love picking up leaves and showing my children, and they're just as interested. So no, it would be very nice if there was some little plaques or just little tables that says about the trees and where they're native to and stuff. So yeah.
Nick has been working with Conrad Evans of Jersey Trees for Life on plans to regenerate the Arboretum. The Probation Service and TTS have done some clearing work in recent years, but there's still a huge amount to do.
It really does sort of sadden me to see it in this state, but with campaigning and with searching for money, hopefully we will be able to get the maintenance back. And that's the part that it needs. It needs a little bit of tender loving care to bring it back to how it should be.
Jersey Trees for Life are leading a campaign not only to restore the woodland to its former glory, but also to extend the forest by planting up areas that were originally planned before the bequest ran out. Most importantly, they're looking for funds to secure the Arboretum's long-term future, to transform the forgotten forest into an asset to the island, for its wildlife and all who visit.